Hi, welcome to the channel. Today I want to talk about the movie Plainclothes. It premiered at Sundance this year and it is the directorial debut of Carmen Emmi. It stars Tom Blythe and Russell Tovey. It is a bit of a period piece, for some people at least. The movie is set in the late 90s New York. So, for the younger people, the Gen Z and all, it is, I guess, a period movie. The movie starts with the popular song How Bizarre by OMC, which came out in the late 1995, and it recently got popular again on TikTok. So I think that's a nice way to start the movie because the original song is from the mid late 90s, and the younger audience who have discovered the song recently may just find a little chord. Nevertheless, Tom Blythe plays Lucas, who is a young police officer, and he's part of a special team who essentially work on luring gay men in mall bathrooms and have them arrested for indecent exposure. And I found that a bit strange that this was happening in as late as like late 90s New York, although that is sort of understandable uh, because it was only in 2003 when the US Supreme Court explicitly said that same-sex acts in private could not be prosecuted, or it was all legal in the case Lawrence v. Texas. And it was only after that that such laws or the implementation of such laws uh, could not be implemented in the same way as they were before. I'm talking about the laws of public exposure or public indecency. Uh, but the fact that so much of police resources were being used to go after gay men in consensual acts, it was baffling. And the movie does address it a little, like the context of that, where they show senior policemen talking about one case where one man killed a woman because she refused to do the same acts with him that he was doing with men in these public bathrooms. And it shows that how certain people who have a certain agenda or propaganda use some single incident to justify their actions against a minority. Nevertheless, getting back to our characters, Lucas, he is coming to terms with his sexuality and his recent breakup with his girlfriend, which was due to the fact that he might be gay. And in such a scenario, his inner conflict gets even deeper when he's tasked with baiting gay men so that they can be charged. And one day he meets a man played by Russell Tovey. The character's name is Andrew, and he meets him in similar circumstances. He's on his job in plain clothes, and he nods at Andrew, gets him to the bathroom, uh, and Andrew asks him, "How are you?" And Lucas smiles, maybe because none of the guys ever asked him that before. It was just nod and like right to the action or beginning of the action. So in this case, Lucas makes an exception for Andrew, and he does not get him arrested by his team. And the screenplay is non-linear, which becomes more clear as the movie progresses. They have also used a fair bit of VHS-like visuals, and I felt that this was a bit overused throughout the movie because I mean they have used it to show his POV, his memories, and snippets of his past. I just felt that it was a bit jarring at times. But getting back to the story, Lucas and Andrew they meet again, and we see the anxiety of first meet and the awkwardness of first sexual encounter between them, like when the zip gets stuck, or if you're in the 90s, your pager keeps beeping because your wife is trying to call you. Uh, so I just like that awkwardness of first few meetings, both in conversation and in sex. And they meet in diverse places. They meet at a very beautiful, regal movie theater, a nursery, in a car, and I mean, in a series of these encounters, Lucas grows closer to Andrew. He finally sees someone to whom he can talk and see a life with. Andrew is older, and he has been meeting guys for a lot longer. But for Lucas, this is new. And Lucas asks Andrew a lot of questions like, is it hard for you, the secrecy of meeting guys and having a family on the side and the ever-present anxiety of being found? And at this point, even Andrew drops his guard a bit. He talks about his fears that he comes from a small town, and sometimes he fears that his wife knows or others will know. The movie does a good job of exploring Lucas's mind and emotions. He's a sweet guy, and his family means a lot for him. And we see him grieving his recently deceased father, and he sees how his uncle is manipulating his mother. There are small subplots of the movie that play a small role. I mean, these are the small subplots about his mother, his uncle. But the primary plot is his inner dilemma. Every time he gets a guy arrested for public indecent exposure, he looks at the guy like he has betrayed one of his own, and that it could have been him instead of some stranger if he wasn't part of the police force. And every time this happens, he sort of goes into an anxiety attack, and it's really difficult for him to come to terms with this, his inner identity and his job, uh, which is, I mean, at least in that scenario, justified by law. And this weighs on his mind, and he's faced with the tough decision to continue this way or come out and live a more honest life. Now, it may feel like an archaic idea that coming out would be such a major decision in New York, even though it is the 90s. But even in the 90s, the echoes of AIDS epidemic were still alive. And Lucas, of course, is part of police force, so he's expected to be very macho. And of course, the very specific department that he's part of makes it even more difficult for him. And a somewhat similar question is faced by Andrew as well. And that is the core of the movie because he also wears a uniform that makes it difficult for him to be out. I mean, even now, there are places, even in the first world countries, where it is not easy to be out. And with the rise of homophobia and manosphere, it is becoming increasingly difficult for queer people to be out. And that's why such movies are still important, but they should be well made, like this one. The movie gets a lot better in second viewing. I uh, and what for me, what really stood out was the screenplay. The background score by Emily Wells is great. I love the songs. So do watch out for the score when it is available on Spotify or something. Uh, the performances by Tom Blythe and Russell are also very good, as are all the other actors. Overall, I enjoyed the movie. It is slated for a limited release on 19 September. See if you can catch it in theater. If not, wait for it to be available on any streaming platform, and hopefully, it should be available by the end of the year. So that's all I had to say about Plain Clothes. Thanks a lot for watching, and have a great day. Thank you.